I believe Paul Porter would like to have that last announcement back. He announced Brian Shaw as the head coach of the Orlando Magic, obviously meaning Brian Hill, unless there is a promotion that we are not aware of, Matt. Well, we have double coverage on the sidelines today. Ahmad Rashad and Jim Gray are with us. We have reports from both, starting with the Dean. Here's Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Mark. Overconfidence. That's what everybody would think about the Chicago Bulls, but I was in the locker room before the game. They are not overconfident. Scottie Pippen told me that we are confident because of the way that we played the entire season. We are focused, and we just want to take one game at a time. Now, I asked him about some of the statements coming from Orlando that they were playing mind games, talking about a 4-game sweep. He said that's not the case. We just want to win a championship, and that road goes through Orlando. Now, for the story on Orlando, let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, there is one other potential problem for the Magic, and that has to do with Penny Hardaway. In Game 2 on Tuesday night in Chicago, Penny told me that he lost his legs, that he had no energy, he couldn't jump, and that his legs were very, very heavy. Well, he said that he wasn't really able to continue, and he had no points, and he had no assists in the second half. Well, I spoke to Penny today, and he said that his legs are feeling much better. However, he did have them worked on this morning, spent about 25 minutes in the training room and had them massaged. And it's going to be very important, his legs today, because without Brian Shaw, he's going to see a lot more action. Mark?
All right, Jim, and the official, Steve Jaffee, working with Ed T. Rush and Ed F. Rush. I asked the Rushes, when was the last time that they worked together? They said 3 years ago. They said it's very tough when they're both checked in at the same hotel. Ed T. Rush and Ed F. Rush.
Well, they can both turn a deaf ear now when they're being hollered at by the coaches on the sideline.
Exactly. Shaquille O'Neal and Luke Longley on the opening tip. Game 3 is underway as it's controlled by the Chicago Bulls.
Dennis Rodman still getting his shoe wear together as the game starts.
Hawker saw the opening. And back comes Nick Anderson. Anderson.
Well, this is the game plan, Mark. First of all, set an emotional tone, then a defensive tone, and with that defense, get out and run. But the Magic will have to be careful. They are shorthanded.
Nick Anderson only 3 of 18 from the field the first 2 games. Michael Jordan rebounded by Shaquille O'Neal. And one of the major factors over the first 2 games, the Bulls have just crushed the Magic off the boards. Hardaway came up short. Rodman pitching out for Harper. Here's Pippen. Bulls in the open floor, and Harper able to hit on the layup.
Transition defense by the Magic that time absolutely awful. Penny Hardaway took the shot from the left baseline, and now complaining to referee Eddie Rush. I'm not going to tell you which one. The one underneath the basket.
Very safe.
Then he got hit on the shot, but he's still got to run back.
Open three-point attack for Hardaway. The Magic with a 5-2 lead. Penny Hardaway, who had the terrific game last Sunday, 38 points to lead the way in scoring, and then came up with the heavy legs, as Jim Gray described in Game 2. Longley brings the Bulls within 1.
Well, a surprise starter of sorts, John Koncak, who started Game 2 and really didn't think he was going to be able to play. Took a shot in that knee yesterday, a medical shot, and now warming up. Brian Hill thinks he can get more. Nice drive, Penny Hardaway.
The Magic 7 and the Bulls 4. And it comes back to Orlando.
Well, after that ball went through the net, Dennis Rodman, in his haste to get the ball inbounds and set the Chicago Bulls running, obviously had not stepped all the way out of bounds.
Mentioned John Koncak. This is second playoff start. Made 35 starts in the regular season. He was the starter at center when Shaquille O'Neal was injured earlier in the year. Won't count the foul before the shot attempt. Shaquille, with a power move to the hoop, was hammered by Luke Longley.
This has been a familiar scene in the first 2 games, and now here with Shaquille going one-on-one against Luke Longley, he really put the Bulls in a hole in Game 2 by picking up 2 quick fouls, as did Dennis Rodman in Game 2. That was a big part of Orlando getting off to that great first half.
Single coverage now. Pippen is over to help, and O'Neal is able to explode. Shaquille O'Neal all fired up here at the start. And the Magic leading 9-4. Rodman, who has been looking offensive, goes to the outside shot. Pippen posting up Scott. Comcast over to help. Longley. It backed out by Luke Longley. Hardaway in the face of Jordan. And the Bulls turn it over again.
When Shaquille O'Neal gets the ball deep on that left block, he starts to make that move and puts that left shoulder and body and just knocks Longley out of there. Does a nice job with his footwork to step in.
Dennis Scott with an air ball on that three-point attempt, and Dennis Rodman not able to handle it. Dennis Scott is now 1 for 8 from downtown. But this is exactly the kind of start that Brian Hill wanted. The crowd is into it. The Orlando Magic all hyped up. O'Neal had to stop the dribble. And the shot clock is down to 4. Hardaway for 3. And back comes Jordan. Rodman delivers to Harper, and he's fouled. Fouled by Comcast.
And it'll be a flagrant foul, too. A hard, what used to be called a playoff foul, but John Koncak not really making a play on the ball there, making sure that Ron Harper did not lay that ball up, and coming hard across the arms and neck area of Ron Harper. A flagrant foul call, a flagrant 1. And it'll be 2 free throws for Ron Harper and possession of the basketball.
Ron Harper, who has really lifted it during the course of the playoffs, played so well in the series against the Knicks in his 10th NBA season out of Miami of Ohio. And he did it, of course, defensively in that opening series against Miami. Against Tim Hardaway, who you may recall opened up with that incredible first half in Game 1 and then was quieted by Harper. Pippen going to a series of crossover moves. Jordan for 3. So Michael Jordan with his first field goal, and it's the Magic 9, the Bulls 8.
Very aggressive, active defense on the part of the Magic. In fact, when Jordan got the ball in the post, 2 players came in to make it a triple team, but a little bit of overreaction on the part of the defense by Orlando, and that's what left Michael open for that 3.
And O'Neal lost it on the double team. Harper, Rodman with the tip. Hardaway lost it, stripped by Jordan. Oh, beautiful move by Jordan to hit. A show the ball fake right at John Koncak, who went for it.
And the Chicago bench really enjoying it. Everybody smiling, laughing. I think they all look for the ball to go towards the basket.
So Michael with sleight of hand here to give the Bulls a 1-point lead. Hardaway drew the blocking foul on Pippen.
Well, in the Magic's effort to get out and run here, Penny Hardaway not really aware of where anybody in a red shirt was, and there the show.
Whoa.
And both John Koncak and Penny Hardaway froze on the play, and that left Michael all alone.
6-0 run by the Bulls. 7:20 remaining in this opening quarter. O'Neal. The tip will not count. A loose ball foul called on Orlando. That's number 2, picked up by Koncak.
A little different strategy on the part of the Magic. Koncak has spent a lot of time in and around the basket at the offensive end, where normally he would be up above the tip of the key to try to take Rodman away. But his feeling right now is he can make Rodman work there. He just clearly pushed Rodman out of the way for his second personal foul.
Longley played by Koncak. Rodman is dealing with O'Neal. An 8-0 run by the Bulls. It is Chicago 12 And Orlando 9. Nice lead. Hardaway for Anderson. Bulls by 1.
Well, this is how both Dennis Scott and Nick Anderson can get more involved offensively. In transition, just grab a box, take it before Shaq can get down there and look for that quick post-up opportunity.
Scottie Pippen with the room. Hopper able to get back to cut off Hardaway. Then Hardaway with a second move off the dribble, but was stripped. And last touch by Hardaway. Now timeout is called with 6:15 remaining. In the first quarter, it's the Bulls with a 12-11 lead. Nice lead for Anderson. So Nick with 2 field goals, both off driving moves. 1-point Chicago lead. We'll be right back. Well, the Orlando Magic with a number of injuries coming into today's game without Horace Grant, without Brian Shaw. That injury is a surprise. That occurred this morning, out with the neck problem. What about all these injuries? We talked about that with Michael Jordan.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate that they're having some injuries at this particular time, at this time of the season. But a wounded dog is a dangerous dog. I don't think we sit here and worry about, you know, them being wounded, because if you worry about it, next thing you know, they're going to sneak up and bite you. So I think it's very important that, you know, we stick to our game plan. You know, they're going through some bad situations, but sometimes teams rally around those situations and come out and play better. So we have to work with our eyes wide open.
And Michael telling us before the game, very well aware of how the Magic would come out to start this game and try to get the crowd involved, and said how important it was for the Bulls to withstand that emotional charge.
And this crowd has certainly been involved here at the start. We have 5:40 remaining in the first quarter. Anderson for 3. Nick Anderson looking for that shot from downtown. And the Magic up 14-12. Nick Anderson, 1 of 11 from three-point range over the first 2 games. Luke Longley going too strong. Nick Anderson has hit all 3 of his shot attempts in this first quarter and leads the way with 7. Now single coverage on Shaquille. Goes at Longley. Rebound handled by Rodman. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. Rodman. Dennis Rodman with his first field goal. For the 3rd straight playoff game. Looking back at game 2 on Tuesday night, Dennis Rodman's scoring increased. 6 of 8, 15 points, along with 12 rebounds. In fact, the first 2 games, he outscored Dennis Scott and Nick Anderson combined. Game is tied at 14. Shaquille, as Rodman came over to help. What a play.
Well, the Bulls have been mixing it up defensively as far as coming down and double-teaming Shaquille O'Neal. For the most part, they're letting him go on 1, but once he puts that second dribble down, if somebody can get there, and it's usually from the top, then they will get there, and they've knocked a couple balls loose, but Dennis Rodman gambled that time coming from underneath the basket.
Just a second on the shot clock, and Joe Wolf blocked again. This time, well, it was Rodman once again with the blocked shot. Joe Wolf replacing John Koncak. Joe Wolf, it was thought, would be the starter here this afternoon, with Koncak out of action because of the knee problem. Now Wolf is on the floor, and he's guarding Longley. Longley stopped by O'Neal. Hopper going blank. And Rodman with the rebound. And Hopper's hurt. Hopper down. 22nd timeout is taken by the Bulls. And Chicago trainer Chip Schaefer out to check on Ron Harper.
Well, when Ron Harper went up for that jump shot, he had a wide open look, but as he came down, looked like he came down very funny on this, and really can't tell what happened yet, but definitely getting hit in the stomach area. Ron Harper trying to improve his position to get off a little jump shot. And as he comes down, Shaquille O'Neal belatedly challenges, and when he turns, the rear end of Shaquille O'Neal right into the midsection of Ron Harper, who went down and begged for that 20 immediately.
All right, for more on the injury status of Ron Harper, let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Marv, that is exactly what happened. He got the wind knocked out of him, but he's sitting out of the game right now because this is normally the time that he would take a blow right now. He's not injured. He is available to play, but that's what happened. He had the wind knocked out of him. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, Tony Kukoc has checked in, replacing Ron Harper. Orlando Magic fans with vivid memories of several games that Kukoc had against them during the regular season, but on his first foray, he stripped. The game tied at 14 with 3.5 remaining in this first quarter. Scott trying to get it back to Hardaway. Shaquille O'Neal. Well, he had the move, had the shot, but could not put it down. Joe Wolf upset that he took a hit from Dennis Rodman and was appealing for a call as play continued. Scottie Pippen is sent flying by Shaquille O'Neal.
And Luke Longley talking to the officials about what happened to him at the other end as Shaquille made that strong move into the lane. And Luke felt he got wiped out on that particular play and immediately turned to the referees and saying, hey, when is that a charge? Scottie Pippen has really been struggling from the free throw line as well as his jump shot, but a little bit out of control here, making sure he at least gets fouled on the play. And as he goes down on the floor holding his left wrist.
Bulls 16 and the Magic 14, and here is pressure for the first time by Chicago. They suffocated the Magic in the second half on Tuesday night, coming back from the 18-point deficit. Hardaway. Oh, beautiful move by Penny Hardaway.
Well, because of the backcourt trap, the Bulls never really got any kind of matchup that they liked, and Dennis Rodman very uncomfortable defending on the perimeter, just blown away by Penny Hardaway.
The game is tied at 16. Kukoc getting the pick. Shot clock down to 5. Kukoc. And kept alive by Pippen. Pippen for 3. Scottie Pippen, who has not been hitting the three-point shot. 1 for 7 from downtown the first 2 games of this series.
On the last third of the season, Scottie has struggled from the perimeter, but that shot looked beautiful. He had a good angle right behind him. Perfect rotation of the ball. He got his legs underneath him. Strong-looking shot.
O'Neal for Hardaway. Anderson. No hesitation. And Steve Javy with the call. Calling for a technical. First, a loose ball foul indicated. Rodman did not like the call and was hit with the tee. Rodman was called for the personal foul.
Well, Dennis Rodman and Shaquille O'Neal battling for position there. And I think what Dennis Rodman is so upset about with all the physical contact in and around the basket is Dennis Scott can't get the technical foul. Free throw. Dennis wondering why that would be called a particular foul, but Dennis really can't worry about that. The whistle blows, go with the call, and not get into any kind of discussion with the officials at this stage of the playoffs.
So the early technical assessed on Rodman. And this call away from the ball. Again against the Bulls.
Tony Kukoc will pick up the foul, putting the forearm into the chest of Dennis Rodman, who kept knocking it away. And Tony's looking to the officials, say, I'm allowed to put my bent arm against the offensive player, but not allowed to put it up around his throat.
Fourth team foul on Chicago. Orlando has 3. Hardaway trying to slice his way. Rebound O'Neal. The Bulls 19. The Magic 18. Hardaway deflecting it out of bounds.
Shaquille O'Neal just barreling in there, making sure right on the the doorstep in case any misses, and this is how he can help his ball club. Not just always trying to score out of post-ups, but still the huge advantage on the offensive glass for Chicago. But at least Shaq has been moving in there, making his presence felt, and making some red shirts move out of the way.
And Orlando with its first offensive rebound. Steve Kerr, one-time member of the Orlando Magic, on the floor for the first time for the ball. And Jordan is fouled, hit by Anthony Bowie, who just checked in. So Michael to the line. Low-key first quarter for Michael Jordan, looking for his teammates to get involved. He's hit 2 of 3 from the field, including 1 from downtown. The Orlando Magic with the daunting task of having to beat the Bulls 4 times in 5 games to pull out this series. Shaquille O'Neal saying yesterday, despite the Magic down 2 games to nothing, he does not listen to the so-called critics. He says it ain't over until the obese lady sings. Shaq always has a way with words. The obese lady.
Normally, this is when Brian Shaw would be in the ballgame. Brian Hill seems to feel that Brian Shaw is his best defender against Michael Jordan. But right now, Anthony Bowie will have the primary task.
And again, the Bulls pressing. Hardaway able to work it down court. 1:20 remaining in this opening quarter. Here's Scott. And he took the hit on the side of the head, and he'll go to the line.
Well, we saw the strategy in the last series, Chicago against New York. The Knicks felt, with not a lot of quick players out there, felt that they had the ability to drive by the Bulls and get to the basket and challenge their interior defense. And this is the way the Magic have come out here in Game 3. In many cases, dropping their head, beating their initial defender, and getting to the basket.
Well, Dennis will take it. During the regular season, 82% at the line. He is a solid free throw shooter. Missed the technical, though, earlier this first quarter. And now hits on both. The Bulls 21 and the Magic 20. And some pressure from Hardaway. Bill Wennington on the floor for the first time. Wennington up front with Kukoc and Pippen, along with Jordan and Kerr. Picked off by Scott. And it's Scott. Blocked by Scottie Pippen. Pippen with the strip. And kept alive by Bowie. Here's Bowie. And handled by Kukoc.
What a tremendous defensive effort by Scottie Pippen when it looked like a clear breakaway, coming back to make 2 terrific defensive plays.
Jordan. Yes. The Bulls 23. The Magic 20. 9 points for Michael Jordan. And we're down to a half-minute remaining in this first quarter. Shot clock at 5. Royal just checked in. And Hardaway very active, not able to come up with the steal. And a technical foul has been called. Brian Hill, who was working the official, Ed T. Rush, has been hit with a technical.
I think he felt it when Donald Royal drove into the lane and created some contact there with Bill Wennington, that Donald Royal, in the act of shooting, should get the benefit of that call. And that's Donald Royal's bread and butter type of play, is drive the ball to the basket, find a body to run into, and generally he will get to the foul line with that kind of play, as everybody, all the good free throw shooters, having problems with the technical foul.
Dennis Scott missing earlier. Steve Kerr not able to cash in. Ryan Hill telling us earlier, one with Horace Grant out with the elbow problem, that he'll be doing a lot of shuffling. He may go small at times. He'll use Joe Wolf. John Concat will see some action. He started the game and picked up the 2 fouls. Anthony Bowie, Anthony Bonner expected to play. Donald Royal in there right now. Here's Kukoc for 3 as time runs out in this first quarter. So after 1 here at the Arena, it's the Bulls 23 and the Magic 20. Michael Jordan, 3 of 4 from the field. He has 9 points. Nick Anderson, 3 of 4, leading Orlando with 7. The Magic trying to get back into the series. The Bulls looking to go up 3-0. We'll be back in Orlando in a moment.
You're watching the NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA Playoffs.
Welcome back to Orlando. I'm Jim Gray. Well, before the game, Shaquille O'Neal very uncharacteristically went over to Nick Anderson. In fact, he said it was the first time he's ever spoken individually to Nick. And he said, Nick, we need you. If you don't play well, we won't win. You've got to be the old Nick. You've got to cut and slash. You've got to get your own shot and get to the basket. Anderson only had 11 points going into today's game in the entire series. He had 7 in the first quarter. He was even harder, Shaq was, on Dennis Scott. He said, Dennis, you've got to get open. You've got to hit your shots, and you must play harder on defense. So Shaq, today, Marv, taking a big leadership role.
All right, thank you, Jim. Yesterday in practice, Dennis Scott hit 19 consecutive three-point shots, but it has not been that easy against the Chicago Bulls.
Was that against defense or
against
shooting
against me? Second quarter underway. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Ahmad Rashad, and Jim Gray from the Orlando Arena. And Shaquille O'Neal is now 2 of 7 from the field. The Bulls with a 23-20 lead on the Magic. Steve Kerr, Michael Jordan in the backcourt. Judd Bushler on the floor for the first time has the ball up front with Dennis Rodman and Bill Wennington. And Rodman being played by O'Neal. Shot clock at 4, and Rodman pumps it home. Dennis Rodman looking for the outside shot these days. That's his second field goal. He has 4 points.
Oh, we talk about that he is taking more shots. He still looks a little bit reluctant when he takes it, but when that ball leaves his hand, it is picture perfect. Terrific rotation, nice follow through, and a nice arc on the ball. Looking to pass, nobody to throw it to, and sees that Shaquille O'Neal will let him take that shot whenever he wants. Finally going to raise up and let that shot go.
Chicago foul on Wennington, who is now replaced by John Sally. So Phil Jackson using a good portion of the roster here in the first half. As Wennington picked up a quick 2. Now Sally guarding O'Neal. Shaquille goes right at him. He's stripped by Jordan. Shot clock at 10. Anderson, played by Bushler. Trying to do it off the dribble. Kept alive by Royal. An offensive rebound for the Magic. Anderson for 3. Michael Jordan was breaking down court, but the Bulls could not get the ball to him. Bushler. And O'Neal hits the deck, takes Rodman with him. Rodman complaining that he was tripped up by O'Neal. I see a technical foul has been called. Steve Javie with the call against Shaquille.
And Dennis Rodman saying he grabbed my foot and pulled me down. Dennis Rodman did pick up the foul as he was trying to back into Shaquille for the offensive rebound. Knew he was beaten on the play. Dennis knocking it loose, and now here's where he fouls Shaquille, and then Shaquille does grab the right leg in the ankle area of Dennis Rodman, and that's why called for the technical foul.
Here the reaction from the crowd as Michael Jordan is not able to hit the technical. So this game 0 for 3 in the department of technical foul shots. Now Steve Javie, an official, not shy about handing out the technicals, but I thought that was an accurate call because Shaquille was upset and kind of lunged for Rodman and tripped him up. Bulls with a 25-20 lead. Orlando has missed its last 7 shots. Bowie able to recover, nearly threw it away. Hardaway saving that pass and firing it up. Loose ball foul on Sally, who does not like the call. The veteran John Sally in his 10th NBA season, a member of Detroit Piston championship teams, has not played much with the Chicago Bulls since originally signing a 10-day contract. Signed as a possible 4th center on the roster. Hardaway. And the Magic in the midst of a drought. They have missed their last 9 shots. Kerr pressured by Bowie. And looking ahead to the potential matchup with the Orlando Magic, Phil Jackson knew that he wanted 4 centers on the roster to deal with Shaquille O'Neal. Here's Kerr, and Shaquille with the rebound.
Both teams shooting the ball extremely poorly, but you have to give the defense the credit on both ends. Both defenses getting up, pressuring passes, pressuring shots, and now Shaquille O'Neal is going to get a good basket as John Sally took a shot in the left area of his neck.
Well, O'Neal getting the continuation call. The basket counts and the foul. And the Bulls are upset with that call.
Well, keep your eye on Shaquille O'Neal's left elbow and left upper arm as he slammed into John Sally. And this is a number of times that this has happened, but Shaq will get the bucket and go to the line.
Malone and the Jazz, Kemp and the Sonics, Game 4, Sunday on NBC. On NBC is brought to you by Honda, who offers an impressive family of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans. By Sun America, the retirement savings specialists. And by Castrol Syntec Blend, added protection for severe driving conditions.
Back in Orlando, Shaquille O'Neal getting credit for the field goal on the continuation call, and he will head to the free throw line for the first time, a place where he has had big problems. 5 for 15 from the line this series. For his career, 55%. As a rookie, he shot 59, as you well know, Matt. You guided him to that 59% career high at the foul line. Isn't that what you're telling me?
Well, what has happened, Marv, over the years, there's been just so much more scrutiny on Shaq's free throw shooting woes, and now so many different people telling him different things that it's got to be an obvious lack of confidence right now, besides the poor mechanics that he has and the flat shot and everything that goes with it.
And that was flat. And a line drive for his first attempt. Bulls 25-22 over the Magic. Scottie Pippen is back in, as is Luke Longley. Anderson is guarding Jordan around him. Rebound Longley. Michael Jordan with the fake right, and he went left.
And almost colliding into Donald Royal, was underneath the basket, so wouldn't get the call there. But Donald Royal bailed on the play, fell down, and that enabled Luke Longley to sneak into an open area.
The lead for Hardaway. Hardaway beating Pippen.
And right away, Dennis Rodman telling Luke Longley, you have to step over and bump Hardaway and not create and give that lane to the basket like that. A defensive mistake by Luke Longley.
So the Bulls lead by 3. 3.5 gone by in this second quarter. Scottie Pippen with another 3. He is 2 of 2 from downtown.
You would think when you're 2 for 14 in the series, he would not be so eager to find that three-point line. Scottie was groping for it, finally stepped behind.
Bulls by 6. Bowie firing up a bad shot. And last touch by the Magic.
A set play for the Magic where they look for lob first, but Luke Longley giving Scottie Pippen no help.
Steve Kerr with a 3. Biggest lead of the game for Chicago. They are up by 9. Shaquille. And on the double team, he's fouled. Foul number 13. Foul on Longley. I don't know if you call this the Shaq attack, but the combination of Chicago centers, man, have now accounted for 6 fouls, 2 apiece on Longley, Sally, and Weddington. We've yet to see James Edwards.
Well, if you were to ask those Chicago centers how many fouls they think they committed, or how many times they thought Shaq crashed into them, it would be probably half that. But a smart play that time by Shaquille. This time he was a little bit more gentle moving into the lane that last time. I think he felt he got away with one on John Sally when he crashed in before. He wasn't going to take a chance there to have a foul go against him, and still got the personal on Longley.
Tony Kukoc back on the floor. And O'Neal way off, 0 for 3 from the line. Hardaway able to convert. Penny Hardaway with 11. He's had an outstanding first half. The Bulls now lead 33-26. 7:20 to go in the half. Jordan. And a foul before the shot attempt. Looked like Nick Anderson got a piece of Michael Jordan.
Well, if you're the Chicago Bulls, you hate to give up a second opportunity on a missed soft shack free throw that time. But the Bulls, with their smaller team in there, but no excuse, Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman are their best rebounders anyway.
Now Jordan puts it back out for Pippen. Kukoc for 3. Yes. Tony Kukoc, who has 1 for his previous 30 from downtown. And he's a street shooter. He could get hot. Hardaway penetrating. Rebound O'Neal.
And a delay of game on Penny Hardaway. Went driving to the basket there and disgustedly slammed the ball away.
And apparently it's their second delay of game, leading to a technical foul. Jordan. And he is 0 for 2 at the line with technical free throws. 4 technicals have been attempted here this afternoon. All 4 have missed.
Well, Scottie Pippen falling down, enabling Penny Hardaway to drive into the basket. Felt he got hit on the play, and Shaquille O'Neal cleaning up on the offensive board.
Well, a moment ago, Michael Jordan on the line shooting the technical foul and was not able to convert. Now our NBC cameras following Michael over to the bench, and here is his explanation. Oh, a likely story.
Oh, right.
The sweat got in his eye, and he missed the free throw. You buy that, man?
No. Now, Michael has been known to be able to make those free throws with his eyes closed. He's even done it in some NBA games.
36-28 the score. Chicago with the lead. Rodman able to keep it alive off that sequence. Here's Harper, just checked back in, had the wind knocked out of him earlier. Another offensive rebound for the Bulls. Kukoc. And a reach-in foul. And you can hear the reaction from the crowd as Rodman has just picked up his third.
Good job by Donald Royal of keeping his body between Rodman and that loose ball. Actually, Dennis initially had that inside position, and then Donald Royal backing up and into Rodman, drawing that third personal foul. So the Bulls were not able to stay with their small lineup, one that they like a lot, but it's not one that they want to overexpose, but it's been very effective for them. And now Bill Wennington will replace Rodman.
As Rodman just went over with what appeared to be a friendly tap to the official Ed F. Rush, but Judd Bushler taking no chances, guided Dennis aside, and now he's on the bench, replaced by Bill Wennington.
Because you just don't know how officials are going to react. Dennis a lot of times likes to talk out on the floor after calls like that, likes to do a lot of clapping, and that really engages the ire of the referees. They really hate that. They feel like they're being shown up. So Judd Bushler doing the right thing, getting Dennis out of there.
Bulls have a 7-point lead. Chicago shooting just under 42% for the half. And Orlando at 36%, 12 for 33 from the field. Wennington on a quick release. Bill Wennington has the good outside touch. And Shaquille often will not come out on the shooter, so Wennington with the open shot.
And Bill Wennington loves that 15, 16-foot jumper.
Hardaway, Pippen able to sweep it. Five and a half remaining in this first half. Scott with the save. Donald Royal for Dennis Scott has the open shot. So Scott is 0 for 3.
A perfect opportunity for Dennis Scott to get himself and the crowd going, as Scottie Pippen was very late in getting back on defense after he had that ball stripped from him driving into the lane.
The Bulls have called for time. It's the Bulls 38 and the Magic 29. Back with more from Orlando in a moment.
Prudential halftime report. We'll take a look at the Western Conference Finals, in which Seattle leads Utah 2-1 with Game 4 tomorrow here on NBC. We'll hear from the versatile small forward of the Sonics, twice the NBA's 6th Man of the Year and now a starter, Detlef Schrempf. And we'll get the thoughts of Julius Erving and Peter Bessie on the first half of the Bulls and Magic. Chicago looking to squeeze the life out of Orlando, leading by 9 as we head back to the O-Arena to rejoin Marv, Matt, Ahmad, and Jim. See you later.
All right, thank you, Bob. And a moment ago, as the Bulls were calling for timeout, Phil Jackson very upset, as you can see, with Tony Kukoc. Why is he upset? Well, Ahmad Rashad has been prowling around that Chicago Bulls huddle. Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. Phil Jackson was yelling because he was saying that Tony was playing in a frenzy. What he wants them to do is let the offense work. Let that triangle offense work. Get into their half-court offense because they don't think that the Magic can contend with their half-court offense. Marv?
And I know that Phil was also upset with Tony earlier on an errant pass. Wennington not able to hit the rim, but it's saved by Hopper with just 2 on the shot clock. The Bulls 40 and the Magic 29.
Already 11 offensive rebounds for the Chicago Bulls, but Phil has to be happy with their defense, holding the Magic to just 34% from the field. Shaq 4 for 10, Penny Hardaway 5 for 12.
11-point Bulls, the biggest lead of the game. Shot clock down to 2. Scott just did get it off, but once again, Orlando looking very tentative. Hardaway. Nice recovery by O'Neal. And the Bulls now lead by 9.
Well, looked like the Bulls did another good defensive sequence to stop Dennis Scott, or at least make him take a tough shot. Looked like they had the rebound corralled, but a good job by the Magic to hustle after the loose ball.
Kind of defense from this crowd of 17,000. Scottie Pippen with 10 points. And the Bulls lead 42-31.
And Scottie is starting to look sharp again. He feels good from behind the three-point line, and that has opened up other things in his game. Getting the rebounds, getting the assists as well.
It appears Scottie Pippen has regained his form after that injury hit rocky series against the New York Knicks. Royal gets inside, yes, and it counts. Donald Royal spinning his way, and he'll go to the line.
Well, Donald Royal, not normally a post player, but catching the ball just kind of out of sequence there, but doing what he does best. Drop the head, get to the front of the rim, and try to draw a body. He was able to do it. And as he scored through Tony Kukoc, I was glancing over at Phil Jackson, who just dropped his head in disgust. But overall, the Chicago Bulls have played absolutely tremendous defense.
Foul on Wennington is 3rd. Substitutions, Wennington departing along with Hopper. Defensive specialist Randy Brown has checked in for the first time. John Sally is back. 3-point play for Royal. And the Bulls now lead by 8. Penny Hardaway getting a rest.
And Brooks Thompson will be checked very tightly by Randy Brown, the defensive specialist. And they'll try to put as much pressure on Thompson to confuse him.
Brooks Thompson in his 2nd year out of Oklahoma State has not seen very much playing time during the course of the playoffs. He is in there because Brian Shaw is not available because of a neck injury. With an air ball, 24-second violation.
Nick Anderson, an outstanding defensive job that time. Got the forearm into the back of Michael Jordan. Got him just a little bit off balance and then challenged that shot and drew the air ball.
Here is Joe Wolf for Donald Royal. And Brown on Thompson. Looking for the steal. Thompson. Bad pass. Here's Jordan in the open floor. Jordan all the way. Chased by fellow Tar Heel Joe Wolf, but that was not a contest.
And Brian Hill's heart will be in his throat right now, as not only Brooks Thompson, who does not have that much experience in this kind of setting, really the other players for the Magic out on the floor right now, not that sharp with the ball.
And Anderson script. Anderson gets it back. Anderson going at Bushler again. Wild shot. And a foul against the Bulls.
Well, Brooks Thompson getting a little bit of daylight, driving towards the basket, but makes that mistake. And it's not only young players, old players as well, when they leave their feet and get hung up in the air. Michael Jordan picked it off easily and then went the other way for the easy deuce.
Foul committed by Bushler. And Shaquille O'Neal back at the line. Make it 0 for 4. And he is 5 for 19 at the line in this series. That is beyond embarrassing.
It's like shooting darts right now. It's just when confidence leaves you in any phase of this game, there are all kinds of problems. Shaq just has to get a whole different mental approach, a whole different motivation when he steps to that line. Almost as if, I don't care where this thing goes, I'm just going to put it up and try to get it over that front rim. But right now, it's a case of he's trying too hard.
And Orlando is now 4 of 11 at the free throw line. O'Neal 0 for 5. 2:20 remaining in the first half, and the Bulls are up by 10 points. Shot clock at 5. Pippen. Scottie Pippen has been a major factor in this first half. 4 of 5 from the field. He has 12 points.
Watching Richie Adebayo, Brian Hill's assistant over there, saying, Brian, get Penny in there. We're getting killed right now. We can't stop Pippen at the other end. We don't have any ball handlers out there. Penny can rest in the summer. Yes.
And they're hoping the summer does not come too quickly.
Little hook there by Scottie Pippen to get around Dennis Scott. Dennis lets the official know about it, but Scottie playing with a tremendous amount of confidence right now in all phases of the game. And it was just a game ago with Scottie Pippen struggling from the field, and that affects other parts of his game, although he's still always going to give you defense and give you a presence out on the floor, which is so important for the Chicago Bulls scheme of things.
Randy Brown called for the foul to put Brooks Thompson at the line. Brooks Thompson, Orlando's first-round draft pick. Last season, he's a three-point shooting specialist. But he was in there as the ball handler. And that is not his specialty, although he doesn't do a bad job. Hardaway's getting set to make his return. Shot clock at 7. Jordan and the baseline closed by Anderson. And he drew the foul. Nice fake. Anderson does not like the call. Jordan had to shoot because the shot clock was running down. For Nick Anderson, a second personal.
Well, initially, Dennis Scott made Scottie Pippen go left, made him give up the ball. In that case, Nick Anderson on the left side of the floor. In most cases, you would rather have Michael Jordan going to his left, but you can't give him baseline. So Nick had to square up on him, and that enabled Michael to go hard to his right and get Nick Anderson off balance.
And another technical foul assessed on assistant coach Tex Winter at the Chicago bench. And again, it is a missed technical free throw. Dennis Scott has done it twice.
Oh, you're talking about two of the best teams in the NBA. They're shooting. High school teams would not be happy with the shooting percentages from the line right now. The Magic 6 for 14 and Chicago 5 for 9.
And how about this, Matt? Technical free throws combined both clubs 0 for 5. Jordan is having difficulties at the line, being a personal foul free throw or a technical. He's 2 of 5 at the line.
Not to make any excuses for any shooter or any team, but when you're playing the kind of defense that these two teams are, it really takes you out of any kind of offensive rhythm. Now, this isn't a rhythm when you stop dead and are at the free throw line, but it's obviously, or something is affecting both teams from the line.
Perhaps Shaquille's touch has rubbed off on Michael. He's 2 of 6 at the free throw line. Anderson. And he's hit by Brown. Minute 16 to go in this first half. 10-point Chicago lead. And Nick Anderson will head to the line. Nick Anderson at the line. Shoot. Orlando only 36% on 14 of 39 from the field. Chicago at 18 of 38 for their 47%. And look at the poor free throw shooting by both teams. Orlando during the regular season, 69% at the line. Only Portland was worse.
And free throw shooting for the Chicago Bulls was crucial in game number 2. And Michael Jordan, 15 for 16.
Brooks Thompson. And it cuts it to an 8-point lead. Thompson hurt himself. He went down on a wet spot. Looked like he may have pulled a groin muscle. Able to get back into the action, though, in this final minute of the second quarter. Jordan again played well by Anderson. That time Anderson able to elude the contact. Hardaway for 3. We have seen a number of wild shots in this first half. That was last touched by Brown. And O'Neal hears it from the crowd for the hustle.
Oh, speaking of that little slip by Brooks Thompson a little earlier over on that left side of the free throw line, there was leaking before the game. Don't really know if it's still raining outside, but a deluge about an hour or so before the game. Good hustle by Shaquille O'Neal to catch up to that loose ball and bounce it off Randy Brown.
13 on the 24.
2-for-1 situation for Orlando.
O'Neal. And Jordan able to squeeze the rebound. 25 seconds to go in the first half. Bulls led by Pippen with 12 points. Jordan with 11. Hardaway, high man for the Magic with 13. 10 seconds in the half. Jordan through the foul. Foul committed by Wolf.
His second first in the last 2 minutes.
Michael back to the line where he is 2 of 6. Usually a superb free throw shooter.
O'Brien Hill down at the other end of the floor in front of the Magic bunch was frantically waving to Nick Anderson in that spread floor situation to force Michael Jordan to his left in that situation. You'd rather make Michael go there. He can still score that way, but he's a little bit less effective. But the problem is when he gets on the left side of the floor, you don't want to make him go left because he will go to the baseline and get there before anybody else can.
9 and 3/10 seconds remaining in the half. 10-point Chicago lead. Here's pressure by the Bulls. And Steve Javie apparently readjusting the clock.
Well, the ball was deflected and touched. Now just a matter of how much time to be put back on. Now Joe Wolf has to be very careful in this underneath out of bounds pass it. After a made basket, you can roam the baseline, but in this situation you can't. He's got to hold a pivot foot there.
They cut it to 8.8 seconds. Down to 5. Wolf. Thompson pumps it. That is the end of the half. The Bulls lead 48-38. Bob Costas coming up in a moment. Back at our New York studio with the Prudential halftime report. Scottie Pippen with an excellent first half. 4 of 5, leading the way with 12 points. We'll be right back. Well, the Bulls with a 48-38 lead on the Magic. Chicago trying to go up 3-0. Orlando trying to get back into this series. Let's check in right here with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Marv. Phil Jackson telling his team at halftime that it's time right now to turn up the intensity, try to take advantage of Orlando being shorthanded, and they're going to continue to show Shaq a lot of different looks, and we may see James Buddha Edwards in the second half. Marv?
And you mentioned Orlando being shorthanded. Remember, Horace Grant is out with that twisted left elbow. Brian Shaw, who played so well in Game 2 on Tuesday night, sidelined by a neck injury. Woke up this morning with muscle spasms in his neck. Shaquille O'Neal. He has 10 points, and the Bulls now lead by 8. John Koncak was supposed to be out today with a knee problem, strained tendon in his left knee, but was able to go through a workout earlier today. Said he felt fine. Scottie Pippen has had the touch, 5 of 6 from the field. He has 14 points, and Koncak in the starting lineup, and he's out here right now at the start of the third quarter.
Chicago well known for their defensive surges at the beginning of the second half. Well, I'm sure the Orlando Magic feel that they're going to have to get a spurt of their own to get back into this ballgame. They've got to do it with some defense.
And Scott blocked by Harper. Hardaway for 3. with contact back. Jordan. And Hopper with the open three. Such a confident ball club. They just swing the ball, wait for the best possible shot. Where you look at Orlando and they're so tentative. Dennis Scott a moment ago with kind of a casual three-point attempt that was rejected.
And even Penny Hardaway's three-point attempt looked like he measured it.
And here is Scott, and he continues to have problems. 0 for 6 from the field for Scott. Hopper for 3. And Anderson with the rebound. No matter, even under the best of conditions, we talked of Horace Grant, Brian Shaw being out, and John Concack injured. Even when they're at full strength, the bench of Orlando certainly suspect. Anderson going up against a club like Chicago.
Well, and the bench of Orlando, don't forget, Marv, is not a group that comes off looking for a lot of offense, trying to get a little emotional help off the bench from Horace Grant there, but they're not expected to do a lot of scoring, mainly because Shaquille O'Neal or Penny Hardaway or both is going to be on the floor at that time. They're expected to come in, give some energy, give a little bit of a defensive edge.
Bulls lead 53-42. Longley. And it's recaptured by Rodman. As Hopper made the turn, he was held. Foul committed by Concack. That is his third. Orlando with only 18 points in the second quarter. Look back at the first 2 games of this series. Game 1, which turned out to be a blowout. Chicago led by 10 at the half. Game 2, they led by 15 at the half. Orlando led by 15. In fact, led by as many as 18. And Chicago, with that suffocating defense, able to turn it and come back in the second half. Hardaway bottled up on the double team. Good play by Longley with the save. Pippen going all the way, and he drew the foul.
Well, that all started as Penny Hardaway on a double team, forcing the shot up there. Felt he got fouled on the play, but you can't stop and sit on the floor and worry about it. You've got to get back on defense. The 2 big areas anytime you play the Chicago Bulls is you worry about their second shots. Even though they gave up a couple more to Chicago in that first half, they only gave up 1 more point than Orlando scored, 7-6. So okay right there. Same with the turnovers, you worry, but Orlando only 6 turnovers, leading to 4 points in that first half. So the big problem for Orlando is making shots, but right now they look heavy leg. They look slow of foot, and the Chicago Bulls are quicker to the loose balls.
The Bulls are now 7 of 15 at the foul line. The Magic 6 for 16. Anderson. He went for the crossover. Hopper had a hand on the face, though. Hopper so tough defensively with those long arms.
So you've got 3 players on the all-defensive team, and a very good one, and an unsung one in Ron Harper.
Anderson picked it off. Rodman is back. Anderson. Well, he knew Rodman did not want to pick up a 4th foul. Rodman challenged and then stepped away. It leads to a Chicago timeout. 4 minutes in, third quarter. The Bulls lead by 9.
Wow, Dennis Rodman, who is normally a sharp passer in the triangle offense, telegraphed that one, picked off easily by Anderson, and Rodman, no contest there, didn't want to pick up number 4.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by New Miller Beer, the brand new beer from Miller with big flavor that goes down easy. By the new Schick Tracer FX, designed for sensitive skin. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
We welcome you back to the Magic Kingdom, Orlando, Florida. The Magic trailing the Bulls 53-44. 8:02 left in this third quarter. We have been dealing with the three-point shooting or lack thereof on the part of the Orlando Magic. A look at what took place in games 1 and 2, and not better today.
Well, it's such a big part of the Orlando attack. During the regular season, on average, they shoot about 7 for 20. One of the best teams in the league in that area. They get so many because of the double teams on Shaq and Penny. They get a lot off second shot opportunities and kickouts, and they get a lot in transition, but there's no transition plays today.
And a similar scenario last season in the NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets, where Dennis Scott and Nick Anderson in particular were not able to hit from outside. Shot clock is down to 2. Here is Jordan. And Anderson able to get to the rebound.
A good defensive sequence that time by Orlando, forcing Michael to take a challenge shot.
Anderson met by Harper. O'Neal gets position on Longley. Shot clock down to 3. Nice move, Shaquille O'Neal. 12 points. He has certainly been kept in check. 6 of 13 from the field and 0 for 5 at the line. But the Magic pulling within 7. Pippen met on the switch. And then pushed. Well, the foul on Concat. That is his 4th.
Well, Shaq has had a lot of success spinning to the baseline, even though there's no double team coming. Luke Longley, the biggest, widest body for Chicago, not able to get in the path of Shaquille O'Neal.
Rodman. Pippen. Finding Longley. Blocked by O'Neal. And it will be Chicago's possession, down to 5 on the shot clock.
Actually, the Magic are sagging a little bit defensively and staying in front of their men, and it is keeping the triangle offense from really getting any kind of penetration and forcing, for the most part, jump shots.
Bulls have missed their last 5 shots, and Jordan stepped out of bounds. Met by the double team, had nowhere to go with the shot clock running down.
Well, the crowd is dying to get into this game. They're hoping the Magic can just do something, whether it's a defensive sequence or a couple of three-point shots, to get themselves going and get the crowd going. The Magic can't be that upset with where they are, only down 7 for the way that they have shot the ball overall.
Yes, so Orlando only 37% from the field. They've scored the last 6 points. Pass to handle, and O'Neal tried to call for time but stepped out. Anderson with a bad pass.
Too hot to handle, too low, as Shaq had put the target up high, and Nick threw a little down and in on him as it went down to his knee area. Shaq couldn't hold on.
And the 10 of defense. Shot clock at 7. Jordan. Able to field that air ball. Opportune time for the Magic. Chicago having its difficulties. O'Neal not able to hit it. Rebounded by Rodman. For Dennis Rodman, his 8th rebound. Pippen with the spin. And then Concat got a hand on it. Good play by John Concat. 5:20 remaining.
Well, for the most part, it has turned into a battle of half-court offenses, and the defenses have just been better.
As O'Neal made his move, a foul call.
Foul number 13, Luke Longley.
Luke Longley called for his 3rd.
First team foul.
Shaq not necessarily getting the ball in the best position, but with 1-2 dribbles and no double team coming, he can make body contact with Luke Longley and spin off him as he did there. As the Bulls have mixed it up a little bit, they will come on Shaq's second dribble in many cases, as Michael Jordan did there to try to knock it loose, but Shaq already into the lane.
And Kukoc back, replacing Longley, departs with 6 points. For 3, yes. And Orlando now hoping that Dennis Scott can catch fire. He was 0 for 6 from the field before hitting from downtown. The Bulls lead by only 4. They have not scored in over 5 minutes. Pippen, Scottie Pippen, extending to a 55-49 lead. Jordan nearly picked it off.
And Phil Jackson furious with Tony Kukoc right now. Doesn't want him to double team. That's what opened up that three-point shot for Dennis Scott. He is screaming at Tony Kukoc for going and double teaming and helping out Rodman on that last post up by Shaq, which got Dennis Scott free.
Hopper called for the foul. Dennis Scott looking more confident after hitting that shot. 6-point Chicago lead, 4:20 remaining in the third quarter. Hardaway. One-on-one move by Hardaway. Rodman with the rebound.
And Penny Hardaway fighting himself a little bit right now and fighting the referees, looking and begging for a call on every shot attempt. He can't worry about that. He's just got to go out and play his game.
Comes to Rodman. Good back tap by Comcast. Scott for Hardaway. Sets up Anderson for 3. Yes. And suddenly, the Orlando Magic feeling they're back into it. The Bulls lead by 3. 3:25 to go in the third. Pippen shaking off Scott. Another key bucket for Scottie Pippen. He is the only Chicago Bull that has been able to get into the offense the last 6 minutes. Hardaway eluding Pippen. Bulls lead 57-52.
And the Bulls have another mismatch if they choose to go with it, with Tony Kukoc being covered by John Koncak. I don't know how long Brian Hill will stay with that.
Scott battling hard for the shot. Took the body from Hopper. That's the second foul committed by Ron Hopper.
Well, this three-pointer for Nick Anderson set up by a fast break situation. Transition defense not able to get back there. And Scottie Pippen has been feeling it offensively. Puts it off the glass. Nice and sweet.
2:57 left in the third. One of the major factors for this Orlando run in the third quarter. Only 3 of 18 from the field the first 2 games of the series. He's turned it here this afternoon. We asked Nick, who do you turn to when you're in a shooting slump?
There's no one I really turn to. I try to just think about, the good times when I'm shooting the basketball, that it will fall. All along the game 2, I think I was taking good shots. I had some wide open threes, and they were in and out, and Brian Shaw told me the next one was going to fall, and it fell. So, I got to keep the confidence and keep the faith and keep shooting the basketball, and, not worry about it. If I let it worry, then anything will happen for me out there on that floor.
Well, Marv, when you have good practice habits and a good shooting routine, you don't really need anybody to tell you. You just got to go out and work out the kinks. It doesn't hurt if somebody watches you if you have a mechanical error, but you just got to go out and shoot yourself out of a slump.
Orlando with the ball down by only 5. They were trailing by as many as 13 the opening minute of this third quarter. O'Neal with the good move around Wennington, and he was pushed. 4 on Wennington, and Shaquille to the line where he is 0 for 5.
Well, Bill Wennington actually leaning into Shaq, and that helps Shaquille spin away to the baseline where he has been so effective. And Brian Hill, the Orlando coach at the other end, saying, why is that not a flagrant foul? All the Bill Wennington tried to do in that situation was commit the foul and not really play the ball on the play, but it's rarely called in that situation unless you take that player hard to the floor.
Well, Shaquille hearing it from the crowd as he hits from the line for the first time. These 2 teams today have combined for 14 of 32 at the line. So Shaq is now 1 of 7. Brooks Thompson is back on the floor. Michael Jordan, who has had For Michael, a relatively quiet game, sitting down, getting a rest. Only 13 points in his 30 minutes of play. Pippen's pass behind Rodman, but deflected by Hardaway, and the Bulls have 8 on the shot clock.
And a good move by Phil Jackson. Michael not really involved at either end of the floor. Will try to buy these last 2.5 minutes of this third quarter to have Michael fresh for the floor.
Kerr trying to connect on the alley-oop with Pippen. Going with a small team, the only big man is O'Neal, trying to set the pick for Thompson. Here's Brooks Thompson, and it's rebounded by Dennis Rodman. That's 12 for Rodman.
Brooks only in his second year, but never shy when he gets into a ball game, whether it's garbage time or whether it's an important Eastern Conference final game. He's going to shoot the ball.
Shot clock at 5. Pippen has had the hot hand. Scottie Pippen, 8 of 9 from the field. He has 20 points. The Bulls 59, the Magic 53 with 1:25 to go in the third.
Dennis Rodman and Donald Royal getting all tangled up on that last rebounding opportunity, or what could have been almost a taunting foul by Rodman.
Shaquille O'Neal with 15. And the Bulls lead by 4.
I should say a taunting technical, and Dennis already has one of those. Next one he gets taught.
Royal trying to guard Weddington, and Weddington went right at Donald Royal. And the official, Ed F. Rush, blowing the whistle at center court. Apparently a wet spot on the floor, which is being taken care of.
And the shot clock, or I should say the game clock, actually, after the field goal at the last minute of the first 3 quarters, that the game clock is supposed to stop after a made field goal. It ran for a couple seconds.
Bulls lead 61-55. Hardaway got the step and the bucket. Official timeout. Once again, clock being reset. So Chicago leads by 4. Hardaway has 15 points.
And Penny right now grimacing a little bit. He's played all but a couple of minutes. Got a severe hamstring problem on the left leg. I just saw him reach down and grab his right leg a little bit. He didn't get involved in game 2 at all because of, in the fourth quarter, as he claimed, because he felt heavy leg and didn't have the energy to go get the ball. Penny has been pulling up and stopping and taking a jumper on the left side of the basket. This time he kept that dribble alive and kept going and found the opening.
Bulls with only 13 points thus far in this third quarter. Pippen with 8 of the 13. Here's Pippen. Oh, what a move on Thompson. Scottie Pippen on fire, 9 of 10. He has 22 points, 63-57 Chicago. And the Magic will hold for a final shot of this third quarter. Scottie Pippen with 10 of the Bulls, 15 third quarter points. Thompson picked off. Bad pass in a crowd. Bulls not able to take advantage. Goes back to Orlando with 3 and 4/10 seconds remaining.
A good defensive sequence that time by the Chicago Bulls to converge on Brooks Thompson, who gets himself in trouble when he penetrates by leaving his feet. And Dennis Rodman, a little bit of a panicking pass that time. He thought he had Tony Kukoc up into the front court looking for a fast break opportunity.
Bulls swanning over Hardaway, who does get it off and goes front rim. What a shot by Hardaway, who was surrounded. But that's the end of the third. The Bulls 63, the Magic 57. The season very much on the line for the Orlando Magic as we approach the fourth quarter. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Without the express written consent of the NBA.
To the fourth quarter in Orlando. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Samad Rashad, and Jim Gray. A reminder, tomorrow the NBA playoffs continue. right here on NBC. Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Karl Malone of the Jazz try to even up the series, taking on Sean Kemp. And the Sonics, Greg Gumbel, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones, Hannah Storm will be on hand for that one. And we'll be back with Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final Series here on Monday afternoon, starting with showtime at 3 p.m. Only 15 points for Chicago in the third quarter. That is their low for the playoffs. Their season low was 11 against Seattle back in November. Here is Steve Kerr for three. Jordan on the rebound. Michael Jordan, yes, and it counts. He had missed his previous 4 shots, receiving a long rest in the latter stage of the third quarter, but very much back into it.
It's amazing how open shots are created because of double teams. Steve Kerr got the wide open three-pointer because the initial double team on Michael Jordan. Michael really struggling mightily, and another second shot opportunity.
Pippen takes it. Rare miss for Scottie Pippen. Last touched by contact. And it will be Chicago in possession. So Pippen is 9 for 11 from the field. Bulls have 18 on the 24. They lead 65-57. Trying to go 3 up in the series, while Orlando looking to cut it to 2 games to 1. Kerr for 3. And the rebound is handled by Anderson. Ryan Hill staying with the second-year man, Brooks Thompson, who is actually operating as the point guard right here. He has Hardaway on the floor along with Anderson. And Wolf in contact. So Shaquille getting a rest. Thompson. Rebound Rodman. 13 rebounds for Dennis Rodman. Nice pass. Steve Kerr for Scottie Pippen, who was shaken up. He thought he was fouled. And a timeout is called by Orlando. 10:47 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Bulls have extended to a 10-point lead. Award-winning members of the Chicago Bulls. We start with Phil Jackson, was named the 1996 NBA Coach of the Year. First time that Phil has won the honor. And Bulls forward Tony Kukoc named the 6th man of the year. Rounding out the individual award list, Michael Jordan winning his 4th MVP award this past week. And Bulls Vice President of Basketball Operations, Jerry Krause, named the NBA Executive of the Year. In recognition of this moment, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. 10-point Chicago lead. They've led by as many as 13. Scottie Pippen with 12 of the Bulls' 19 second-half points. 10 of 12 from the floor. He has 24 in all. Hardaway posting up. Jackson has Luke Longley back at center. He has Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman up front. Michael Jordan and Steve Kerr now in the backcourt. So Pippen getting a rest. Shot clock at 6. Kukoc blocked by Concat.
Oh, nice defensive play by John Concac. The mismatch there with Tony Kukoc's ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. John will go out and get another rest. A gallant effort really today by John Concac. Really was not expected to play at all in today's game. No Horace Grant and no Brian Shaw as well for Orlando.
Concac with a strained tendon in his left knee. And it was a surprise when it was disclosed earlier today that Concac would be able to play. The other surprise, Brian Shaw waking up with the muscle spasms in his neck. No word on whether he'll be back on Monday. Shaquille stopped by Longley and then hitting, but won't count. Offensive foul. A charge on O'Neal.
Wow, Tony Kukoc in the middle of the third quarter came over to double team Shaquille O'Neal and heard it from Phil Jackson. This time he comes over again. He pays dearly for it as Shaq crashes into Kukoc and the field goal is wiped out. But they don't want Tony Kukoc to come whenever he feels like it. They have a set scheme of when they want to come and double Shaquille O'Neal.
9.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. Longley stopped and fouled. Ball knocked out of his hands by O'Neal. And that is 3 on Shaquille. So Luke Longley to the line for the first time.
Nick Anderson, who's had a strong showing here this afternoon after 2 subpar games, is being guarded by Tony Kukoc right now, and that gives Nick advantage and ability from the perimeter, as far as Tony Kukoc just does not have the foot speed or lateral movement to stay with a Nick Anderson. It might be a good time to see if he can isolate, get something going to the basket, possibly get a three-point play.
Ron Harper is back, replacing Steve Kerr. 11 points, Chicago lead. Look back at what has taken place this afternoon as O'Neal tried to bank it, rebounded by Harper. There have been 2 good spurts all day by Orlando. They started the game strongly, and then Chicago was able to come right back. Jordan draws the foul, and then they had that rally in the third quarter where Anderson hit a couple, Scott hit the 3, but Chicago was able to ride that off. They have the 11-point lead, and they have Jordan at the line. Scott called for the foul, his second. And Michael Jordan struggling at the line. He is now 5 for 10 at the free throw line.
Hard to figure that, Mark, when in game 2 he shoots 15 for 16 from the foul line. Looked like money in the bank every time he stepped up there, but for whatever reason, Michael not comfortable from the stripe today.
Bulls match their biggest lead of the day. They're up by 13 points. And they've outscored the Magic 7-0 here in the fourth quarter. Hardaway put home by O'Neal. Shaquille with just 17 points. He has not been able to dominate.
Well, one time they posted Shaquille O'Neal, and that was 2 sequences ago, and actually Hardaway thought the play was for him. This time you go into Hardaway. He doesn't get the basket, but that enables Shaquille on the weak side to do some damage on the board.
Longley going at Wolf. At the line by Rodman. Jordan. And Hardaway protects. We are just under 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Again, Chicago's had its way off the board, particularly on the offensive side. Kukoc with the steal, running the floor, going all the way, and called for the travel.
Tony can't believe it. He thought he was legal with his feet that time, but not getting the call there. As Kukoc in the open floor where he can make plays happen, and I didn't see a walk there at all. I don't know what the official Eddie Rush thought he did on the play, but he saw some shuffling of the feet that didn't exist.
Anthony Bonner has come on for the Magic for the first time today. Kukoc got a piece of it. Anthony Bonner, signed by the team late in the regular season, played only 4 games in the regular season. A one-time Knick, one-time Sacramento King, played in Bologna in Italy this past season. Another Magic turnover.
Good defense by Kukoc to shut off Nick Anderson.
Jordan lost his balance. And Anderson collided. Looks like Michael is hurting, trying to walk it off. Jordan is hurt. Scott from deep. Ooh, whoa, that was area code rage for Dennis Scott. And the officials checking each other. Michael Jordan still trying to walk it off. It's called Orlando ball.
Well, that's that wet area from before the game with all the rain here in Orlando, and Michael slipped on the play, and as he went down and subsequently got up, limping, but shaking it off and staying in the game.
He is still in pain, just trying to work it free. Timeout taken, a 20-second timeout. You can see Jordan limping toward the bench. Jackson very upset now with Luke Longley. And they've changed to a full timeout. Lots of things going on here the last minute or so. You see Jordan going down. And Michael hobbled over to the bench, claiming that he's all right. Wants to remain on the floor, able to hang in. 7 minutes to go in the fourth. We'll be right back.
Americans trust. And by KFC. For everything a meal should be, everybody needs a little KFC.
Ahmad Rashad back here in Orlando. We just saw Michael Jordan go down moments ago, as Matty was talking about, on the wet spot on the floor, but it appears that he had sprained his ankle. He had his ankle retaped. The shoes that he has on are riding a little bit low on the ankle, so when he got to the bench, he had his ankle retaped and put on another pair of shoes with a higher ride on the ankle. And he is fine and probably will return. Marv?
All right, Ahmad. 7:01 remaining in this fourth quarter. Michael is remaining on the floor. First 5 minutes of this fourth quarter, Orlando 1 of 7 from the field. Only 2 points scored and down by 11.
Anthony Bonner getting his first opportunity in this afternoon's game. He was expected to play at least some minutes and finally getting a look.
Illegal defense called for the first time.
Illegal defense warning Chicago. Next is a technical foul.
So the Magic will get a new 24.
And coming out of that timeout, Phil Jackson did not like the matchups and quickly got Judd Bushler up and in for Tony Kukoc for defensive purposes.
O'Neal going and Longley, and then Pittman over to help. And the foul call, the basket waved off. It's called on Longley. That is his 4th. Game 4 of this best of 7 Eastern Conference final on Monday afternoon here in Orlando, here on NBC, starting with showtime at 3 o'clock. If there is a dramatic turn, making for a Game 5 to take place in Chicago on Wednesday night. O'Neal. Fouled by Rodman. So Shaquille back to the line where he is 1 for 7.
Now, for one of the rare times after a shot going up, the Chicago Bulls defense falling asleep and everybody turning and watching, and Shaquille quick to the ball right there. Normally in fourth quarters, especially when Orlando is leading, they like to get the ball into the hands of Penny Hardaway in post-up situations because he can draw double teams. That gets some three-point shooters open, and it enables Shaquille to work on the offensive glass. But right now, the Magic are coming down exclusively here in this fourth quarter, down by 11, and almost going into Shaq every time.
Matt, not that Shaquille's missing free throws has cost the Magic the game, and of course the game still with 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go, but 1 for 9 at the line, and for the series now 6 of 24. You wonder, can you win a championship with a guy, your key man, shooting that poorly at the foul line?
Well, in last year's finals against the Houston Rockets, Shaq's free throw shooting did not hurt. In fact, he shot it pretty well. The big problem was in game 1 of that series where Nick Anderson had opportunities to put that game away and missed 4 in a row, but it wasn't Shaquille O'Neal's free throw shooting. You know, this Magic team is very talented, very capable. If they're playing their game, which they certainly are not in this series, they're going to be up in so many games against most teams in the league that the foul shooting won't matter.
And certainly the injury suffered by Horace Grant has been a major factor, but you look back at the Chicago Bulls, who were playing hurt right throughout the Knicks series, were able to rise despite the injuries and had a tough series, although a 5-game series with the Knicks. Hardaway called for the foul. But if Orlando goes out in the same manner they did in the NBA Finals last season, you wonder, and I know Bob Costas mentioned it at halftime, if this is the last we're going to see of this particular group as it's constituted. And a foul is called. Rodman hit by O'Neal. I would think there are many questions that can be raised.
Well, I can't see the Orlando Magic making any kind of drastic changes as we see Dennis Rodman getting sandwiched in there, knocked hard to the floor. They do have 2 big signings coming up, one with Shaquille O'Neal being a free agent, along with Horace Grant. But this is a very talented team, a team that is marching right into their prime. And it would be a tremendous show of panic if they did anything crazy by breaking up the nucleus of this ball club. Right now, this series is still going on. Granted, the Magic are down by 11 here with a little over 5 minutes to go. And if they go down 3-zip, they are in a major, major hurt. But this Chicago team is very, very talented and playing really top-notch defense.
We come up on 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Bulls lead the Magic 71-59. Rodman all over Bonner. Deflected out of bounds. It'll be Orlando ball with 12 on the shot clock. Orlando being forced to work feverishly hard for every inch on the court. Scott for three. Longley with the rebound. Orlando 1 of 11 from the field in this fourth quarter. Longley taking advantage of the overplay and was fouled.
Oh, Chicago very, very comfortable right now, in particular at the defensive end. Even that last defensive play looked a little bit at a fast break opportunity, but Scottie Pippen not having it, pulling the ball back out, spreading the floor, and just picking apart at the Magic right now. And on that last offensive play for Orlando, not a good sign when Anthony Bonner is trying to get the ball into the front court for you against intense pressure from Dennis Rodman. The white bear.
Kukoc departing. Dennis Scott is now 1 of 9 from the field, 1 of 7 from downtown.
Well, his good looks have been so rare, and when he gets them, he's probably pressing a little bit because in most cases, the Chicago perimeter defenders are going to stay very, very close to Dennis Scott. They fear him almost as much as Shaquille and Penny.
Lane violation, erasing that Luke Longley free throw. 72-59 Chicago. 4:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. Hardaway for three. He claims he was fouled. Longley in the open floor. Bonner, and he drew the foul. It's a foul on Anthony Bonner.
Well, the Magic players, in particular, Penny Hardaway, continues when he thinks he gets fouled. He stops and discusses it with the official instead of sprinting back on defense. A good job by Anthony Bonner to at least get back and force Luke Longley to the free throw line, as he was the only white-shirted Orlando Magic player to get into the defensive area.
The Orlando Magic 1 for 12 from the field in this fourth quarter. And they now trail by 15 points. The Bulls have outscored the Magic 11-2 in this fourth quarter. So as bad as it was for the Magic in the first half, it has gotten worse in the second half. Shot clock at 5, a steal by Pippen. Once again, the Chicago Bulls have just dismantled the Orlando Magic in the fourth quarter.
And we saw what I would call a fatigue turnover by Shaquille O'Neal. The double team came, and he just didn't have the arm strength to pass that ball back out, throw right to Scottie Pippen.
Nick Anderson is shaken up.
With only 2 timeouts left, are kind of dawdling right now whether or not to take this, but Nick Anderson in some obvious pain, and they do take the timeout. As Nick Anderson sandwiched by Dennis Rodman and Luke Longley, and falls hard on that right side and is in a great deal of pain. Coming down awkwardly as his feet were taken out from under him, so his right side and arm and hand area taking the full brunt of that fall.
Standing ovation for Nick Anderson Very popular player here in Orlando. The first player ever drafted by the Magic 7 years ago. And native of Chicago. He's been matched with Michael Jordan throughout this series. And he is being led to the Orlando locker room. Here's another look at that sequence.
Well, Nick Anderson trying to make something happen by going to the basket and just having his feet taken out from under him, unable to break that fall as he goes down very hard. But the press, the fans, and I guess people around the country have been calling for somebody other than Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway to step up and make a contribution offensively. Dennis Scott unable to do it.
Excuse me, guys.
Anderson breaking out of it a little bit today with 14 points and starting to look more like himself at the offensive end. So this will just add to the medical problems that Orlando is already suffering with the absence of Horace Grant and Brian Shaw, and John Koncak hurting as well, but able to play today.
So Nick Anderson being led into the Orlando Magic locker room. Nick 6 of 11 from the field, 14 points, able to turn it around after the disappointments the first 2 games of the series. John Koncak will go to the line.
Because Nick Anderson unable to answer the bell and step up and attempt those free throws. It is the Chicago bench that gets to pick somebody not on the floor. Phil Jackson going with John Koncak, a very poor free throw shooter, but gets the friendly bounce there.
I myself would have selected assistant coach Rick Adebayo to go to the line. But Phil going with John Koncak.
Well, the way the free throw shooting has gone today, who knows? Orlando now 8 for 21. Chicago not that much better. 14 for 25, 56%, but in effect doubling up Orlando from the free throw line as both teams shooting it poorly, attributable a lot to the intense defense that has been played, and both teams have been evidently tight.
And the ball back to Orlando. It has been an embarrassing fourth quarter for the Orlando Magic. They're 1 for 12 from the field. They have been outscored 11-3. The all-time low, as you see, fewest points in a quarter, playoff low, 6 points. The Atlanta Hawks held to 6 by the Boston Celtics in Boston, May of '86. Fewest points ever in a playoff game. This since the advent of the 24-second clock. Earlier in the playoffs, 64 scored by Portland at Utah in a romp by the Utah Jazz back on May the 5th. Right now, the Magic with 60. They're down 74-60. 3:15 to go in the fourth. And the foul is called. Check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
Marv, I just talked with the trainer, Lenny Currier. He said that the injury to Nick Anderson was to his right wrist. They're now taking x-rays, and we'll keep you posted as to what they reveal. Marv?
So it gets worse and worse for the Orlando Magic. You mentioned the injury list. Horace Grant, who was thought to be out for the series, although he said he was hoping to return for a Game 5, but a Game 5 is certainly in question. Team doctors say that he would be out the rest of the series. John Koncak with a knee problem. Brian Shaw sitting it out. Look out. Whoa.
Boy, Penny Hardaway looked like he cleared the pressure there and then jumped in the air and tried to throw cross court to Anthony Bonner once again as the Magic totally discombobulated at the offensive end. They came into this fourth quarter continually trying to post up Shaquille O'Neal, which the Chicago Bulls are very comfortable defending, whereas Orlando really has to spread the floor as much as possible, try to drive to the basket and kick out to possible open three-point shooters.
Here is Kerr, the high arcing three by the one-time member of the Orlando Magic, Steve Kerr. And the Bulls now lead 78-60. Bulls have outscored the Magic 15-3 in this fourth quarter, and we're down to 2:38 to go. Foul on Jordan. That is his first. And Dennis Scott will go to the line. That is It's only 6 points for Dennis Scott. Matt, it's so difficult to measure low moments, but I would have to say since the turn of this very young franchise, and you look back at the sweep at the hands of the Houston Rockets in the previous season, they were disappointing their first trip to the playoffs, but I would say this game today would be right there in terms of it doesn't get much worse.
And it's so puzzling because of how good the Orlando Magic have been on this home floor. They get themselves going, they get the crowd going, and they generally play very well in this building, even when they do have injury problems, which they have today with no Grant Shaw.
Scottie Pippen now has 27 points, 3 of 4 from downtown. Here's Thompson. And a foul is called. It's a loose ball foul with 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. Orlando is now 1 for 13 from the field in the fourth quarter.
But you have to give a lot of credit to the Chicago Bulls. They came into this series with a very, very good defensive scheme that really didn't get a chance to work in game 1. They just blew the Magic out early. And in game 2, they get behind by 18, turn it on midway through the third quarter with their pressure defense, and came into this game with 3 days to prepare, very comfortable with how they were going to defend Penny Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal in particular, as Michael Jordan, who took a hard fall about 5 or 6 minutes heading to the locker room with trainer Chip Schaefer. And on a day when Michael really wasn't Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen came up big with 24 points, the rebounds, the assists to hold the Chicago Bulls team together.
Numbers on Jordan: 5 of 14 from the field, 17 points. Rodman with rebound number 15. We're just under 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. The Magic 1 of 14 from the field in the fourth. They have been outscored in this fourth quarter 20-5. So that low for a quarter in NBA playoff history is in sight. The low is 6. The Magic with 5 points. Hardaway for Thompson. Crowd filing out here at the arena. Donald Royal able to hit, so Orlando will not hit the record books for lowest number of points in a quarter in NBA playoff history. They now have 7 points in this fourth quarter. Coming up on a minute to go in the fourth. What has been a bleak performance by the Magic, and another splendid all-around game for the Chicago Bulls. Steve Kerr now has 8 points, and the Bulls lead 84-64, and they will go up 3 games to nothing in this best of 7. Hardaway hitting a 3. Hardaway has 18. Chicago able to do the job against Shaquille O'Neal. Only 17 points for Shaquille. Oh, look out. O'Neal accidentally, I think, caught Rodman side of the head. Fourth foul by Shaquille. But a stunning 1 of 9 at the line. I say stunning even for Shaquille with all his problems at the free throw line. Bulls have now outscored the Magic 21-10 in this fourth quarter with 38 seconds to go.
And even though today Chicago got a lot of second shot opportunities, they really didn't turn them into the kind of points that they sometimes are capable of doing. The Magic didn't turn the ball over that much, leading to a lot of fast break opportunities, although the Bulls certainly had the edge in that area. What did the Magic in today in particular was just their very poor offense and very poor perimeter shooting. But the Chicago Bulls, that is what they want to take away in this series.
And of course, the Bulls defense had something to do with the problems of the Orlando Magic, but once again, the Magic not able to hit from the outside. Dennis Scott continuing to struggle. 1 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 7 from three-point range. Here's Longley stripped by Royal with 4 on the shot clock.
I got it, Dennis, I got it.
Orlando shooting only 34% for the game. 5 of 22 from three-point range. And 10 of 24 at the foul line. It's just a series of negative statistics. Final seconds. Hardaway for 3. And that will wrap it. So led by Scottie Pippen, who scored 27, only 17 for Michael Jordan. A thrashing. The Bulls over the Magic, 86-67. They're up 3-zip. We'll be right back.
Oh, Bill, did I tell you what Patty said that Rachel heard about what Mark said about Patty? Well, Bill, are you listening? Anyway, Patty ran into Rachel, who had run into Mark at a party. So, according to...
All right, thanks, Marv. Scotty, you look like the Scotty of old today. I'm telling you, everything is coming back. You struggled a little bit in the series against New York, but today everything was back together.
Yeah, I felt great today, Ahmad. I had a good rhythm on my shot, and, you know, it seemed like no one else could get anything going, so I was a little bit aggressive more today, this game than I have been in this series.
Team defense seemed to be the word today in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's been what has been carrying us throughout the whole series, really. It's been our defense, and we had to step it up, really, because we didn't have a very cushioned lead with a 10-point lead going into the fourth. We didn't feel very comfortable, so we had to step our defense up.
Overconfidence going into this fourth game, leading 3-0?
I don't think we're going to be overconfident, but we're going to come out and play hard as well as we did today.
All right, thanks, Scotty. Sure. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad. Scottie Pippen, 27 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. We'll be right back.